Tense Past Perfect 2上課提過 past perfect tense 嘅形式同埋用法，今課繼續教一啲 common errors。上堂邊一啲單詞係暗示你用過去完成時 ？Before, after。今課會提到 reported speech。He said that past perfect tense is used to express an action that happened before another action at a certain time in the past. The past perfect tense is used with the first past action, and the simple past tense is used with the latter past action. For example, Paul had left the fashion show when Kitty appeared on the catwalk. In what situation do we use past perfect tense? A. When we report a statement said in the simple past, the present perfect or the past perfect tense, we use the past perfect tense. For example, I wore pajamas to dress special day last year, Daniel said. Daniel said he had worn pajamas to dress special day the year before. B. The word after and before are often used with the past perfect tense. For example, before the fashion show began, John had finished his meal. The fashion show began after John had finished his meal. We use the past perfect tense only when we want to show that the past action took place before another past action. We do not use it when there is only a single action or when two past actions took place at the same time. For example, he left the fancy dress party at 10 p.m. The Best Costume Award was presented after he had left the party. Remember not to use the past perfect tense for something which carries on or happens at the same time as the latest action. Examples 以下哪一句正確 Number 1. Sam is telling me that he had bought a ticket. Number 2. Sam is telling me that he has bought a ticket. Number 2 is correct. Number 1. Sam had danced when it was singing. Number 2. Sam was dancing when it was singing. Number 2 is correct. Remember not to use the past perfect tense when you see time expressions such as now, yesterday, last week. 以下哪一句正確 Number 1. We had read a biography of Sir Ernest Shackleton last week. Number 2. We read a biography of Sir Ernest Shackleton last week. Number 2 is correct. Number 1. He had had a wonderful trip to Europe last year. Number 2. He had a wonderful trip to Europe last year. Number 2 is correct. Note that the past perfect tense can be used with for, until, etc. Examples. Tony had lived in Hong Kong for 10 years when I met him. She had worked as an editor for a travel magazine until 5 years ago, when she decided to change jobs. Remember that you should not use the past perfect tense with ago. If you want to use the past perfect tense, you should use before or earlier. Examples. Number 1. Britain had acquired the new territories and Hong Kong Island a century ago. Number 2. Britain acquired the new territories in 1898, but had acquired Hong Kong Island some years before. Number 2 is correct. Task 1. Determine whether the sentences below are correct. Underline the incorrect words or phrases and correct them in the spaces provided. Write a take if there is no mistake. The first one has been done for you, as an example. 大家可以按暫停睇寫一次答案。Number 1. She worked as a teacher before she became a counselor. The answer should be had worked. Number 2. When we arrived at the stadium, the match had already finished. Number 3. Sam told me that he's signing up for voluntary work. Number 4. I went to bed as soon as I do my homework. Number 5. I asked my father many times before he finally agreed to buy me a new pairs of shoes. Number 6. After David had taught in Japan for 3 years, he returned to his home country. Number 7. Has Laura talked to her parents before she decided to travel to Europe alone? Number 8. Do you eat anything before you had dinner? Number 9. By the time the police arrived, the murderer left the scene. Number 10. The sun had disappeared by the time we arrived at the village. Let us take a look at the answers. Task 2. Complete the sentences below using the past perfect tense of the verbs and words given in brackets. Use the past perfect tense. The first one has been done for you as an example. Number 1. We were late when we arrived at the cinema. The film had started. Now let us take a look at the answers. 哪些單詞暗示你用過去完成時？ The key words of this tense are before, by the time, past simple plus had plus PP. Make similar sentences using by the time and as soon as. Eat breakfast. Go to school. By the time I went to school, I had eaten my breakfast. As soon as I had eaten my breakfast, I went to school. Make similar sentences using by the time and as soon as. Police arrive. Thief escape. By the time the police arrived, the thief had escaped. As soon as the thief had escaped, the police arrived. Complete this conversation about two friends using either the past perfect or the past simple tense of the verbs in the box. The first one has been done for you as an example. Some words can be used more than once. 大家可以按暫停看寫一次答案。Now let us take a look at the answers.
Tony called you last night, but you had gone out to see Janet off at the airport.
Yes, and Carol and Mandy were there too. We had dinner together, after we had said goodbye to Janet. I didn't get home until after 10. My parents had already gone to bed by the time I got home. By the way, did you know that 14 retirees are going on a charity fast to raise money for children on the mainland?
Yes, Fred told me about it yesterday.
Fred? So he's in Hong Kong, not in Beijing? I thought he had already left for Beijing before his wife returned to Canada.
No, he won't be taking off until next week.
I see. I had never heard about it before you mentioned it. How did he come to know about the fast?
He heard about the fast only when he talked to his friend, who is one of the participants.
Did he tell you when and where the event would be held?
On the 22nd, at Queen Elizabeth Stadium.
Now do the exercise to test yourself. Bye.
Exercise. Complete the exchange below by rearranging the words given in brackets. Use the past perfect tense. The first one has been done for you, as an example. Now, let us take a look at the answers. Sandy and I have been good friends for years.
Had you known her before you moved to Hong Kong?
Why do you look so tired today?
Well, I discovered a water pipe in my kitchen had sprung a leak when I got home yesterday. I spent all night mopping up.
Do you know what Mandy has been up to recently?
She called me to tell me that she had opened a flower shop in Central.
Why is Sam so upset?
Well, he didn't get tickets for his favorite band's concert because the tickets had sold out when he got to the box office.
Did you visit Sue last night?
Yes, but when I got to her hospital room, she had fallen asleep already.